reason to go there at this juncture. I think we need to finish the job in Afghanistan and foster our relationship with now a budding democracy in Iraq. But I also believe that this president has appeased our enemies and he has insulted our allies. And I don't think we have a greater ally in the Middle East than the state of Israel. And this president... And so as your congressman representing not only my values but your values, then my opinion of foreign policy will be our number one responsibility is to protect the United States of America from its enemies within and without. But then it's our responsibility to foster relationships with our allies who share our passion that our world be free. And I will do my best as your congressman to fight for those kind of values, that we be a free people and that we have relationships with our allies that causes them to share our passion for a free world.
Congressman Frazier, would you like the question repeated?
Yeah, please.
Thank you. What is your view of the war on terror, and how does this contrast with President Obama's view?
My family has lost a member in every war this country's been in, starting with the Revolutionary War. I got lucky, and not all of us were beat up, but we've got to make it clear to our potential adversaries. I know the Marine was taught, I can't pass this opportunity up. I used to train Marine paratroopers. Always like to do that. Anyway, you know, you win or you lose. There's no appeasement, and all of this thing we got in, starting with Vietnam or Korea, Vietnam, the only war we've won lately was the Cold War, thanks to President Reagan.
Right.
I had a minor part to play in that deal. You'll see that on my website if you want to look it up. I worked with him on the SDI treaty. Peace through strength.
That's right.
These paratroopers, someone talked about Private Ryan. Those are the guys that taught me back in the 50s when I was in the military. So you play to win. You play to win every time in war. War is about hurting people and breaking things. Not a pleasant scenario to be in, but unfortunately in the human race it's necessary.
20.
Thank you. So, peace through strength. I mean, that's really enough said. President Reagan had it right, and we need to get back to that. And unfortunately, Mr. President, Barack Hussein Obama, you have got it dead wrong.
I'll face the president this time. For you to diss these boys and girls, men and women, the way you did that is ununderstandable. I mean, it's just understandable. Let's see him go over there and fight.
Yeah.
Hey, all right, hey, why don't he, hey, enlist and go, These guys that go and fight, and these women, young and old, I mean, every one of them, if it wasn't for them and their sacrifice, we wouldn't be sitting here doing this right here. It would be total, this country would have been a mess. It would have probably been German, Russian rule. I mean, one little dude from Germany with a little mustache took Europe over. I mean, so come on. In the first place, the president, and he is the president, should never have even said that to even contradict anything for our military. He should have been, hey, we're doing this is what we have to do. So that's where I stand there, Mr. President.
Congressman Van Wyn.
Well, this is the first time we've ever had a war on an idea, not really on a specific person. A war on terror. What does that mean? It's hard to define what it is. We can define that they did come to us on September 11th, and they did come here, and they waged against us. And we had to have a clear distinction on who our enemy is. And I do believe there are some radical Muslims that want to see us destroyed. We are the ones that are their infidels when they declare a jihad. And to Mr. Obama, why is it every time you want to blame the Republicans for not passing a bill is that you want to cut spending and you want to cut the pay of the military? I think that is terrible. Our military protects us. Our military is the one that's there that goes to fight for us, and I'm all for our military. I think that's great, and I applaud each and every one of them. I applaud each and every person who's given their life so I can stand up here as a free person, and I applaud our country that we have a military that will defend us. Thank you.
I want to be clear. We're not trying to push financial reform because we begrudge success that's fairly earned. I mean, I do think at a certain point you've made enough money.
Congressman Frazier, how do you think the United States can return to its roots of free market capitalism? And just as a side note, do you have a definition of enough money?
Well, we certainly know throwing money at issues isn't going to get the job done. If money would solve poverty, you all remember the Great Society, if money would solve that, we wouldn't have any poverty in this country today. None.
That's right. That's right.
Not only do we still have poverty, it's worse now than it was when the inception of this Great Society programs that were brought on.
That's right.
Some of it not just started by Lyndon Johnson, go back to President Roosevelt, who started putting us on this slippery slope that we find ourselves almost ready to fall over the edge on.
That's right.
Money isn't going to do it. What's going to turn this country around is giving people job opportunities. Cut the corporate tax rate for a time to zero. Allow free enterprise to operate unencumbered. Quit dumping regulations after regulations on us. I told you earlier I was a farmer. Some old boy asked me the other day, I was kind of cleaned up like I am this afternoon here. He said, "You don't look like a farmer." Well, he ought to have been with me yesterday afternoon when I vaccinated 80 calves. Believe me, if you don't have those guys restrained, you're going to get whacked.
20.
You got to be careful. Anyway, money isn't the answer. It's free enterprise. Get the regulations off the back of business. Turn them loose. They'll turn this country around on a dime. Thank you.
Congressman Sizemore.
Thank you. Lessen the corporate taxes, reduce the regulations, let the small businesses take up, let the big businesses, I kind of think leave them on their own. We bailed out several. They're coming back. Promote. Try to keep our jobs here. Quit letting them go to Mexico. The company I work for, we just built a new plant in Mexico. They say it's not going to affect us, but, I don't know. We just need to be more proud and say, hey, we can do it here and we can do it and keep it here. That's kind of what I think. But definitely reducing the regulations, helping them guys out. I mean, I know, did that come on again? I don't know what's going on here. They don't like me. I'm not a good debater, folks. I'm not a good speaker. I have friends that own businesses. They have factories. They have them out in Phoenix, everywhere. And they tell me, the regulations are killing them. I mean, it's one after the other, and it takes so much time to deal with the regulations that it really doesn't matter. So I would reduce some regulations. I would reduce corporate taxes to partial, I wouldn't eliminate them, and give them some freedom to grow. Yes. Thank you.
Why?
Mr. Obama, what happened 1,090 days ago approximately? A budget was passed, and we haven't had one passed since then, which doesn't make sense. So how does our businesses know what they're going to do? I think we need to reduce or even eliminate corporate taxes because it is too expensive to do business here. That's how we're going to encourage businesses to either stay or to develop. As far as regulations go, we're building a bridge here in Madison, and how long did it take them to study the environmental study? It took, what, approximately 2 years? 2 years. I think we need to reduce that. And Mr. Obama, as far as a war on terror, on poverty, I think it's bad that you're doing this class warfare thing. Taxing the rich ain't going to help anymore. There's some 8,000 people in the United States that makes $10 million or more per year. If we took 100% of their income for 1 year, that equals $240 billion. Our government can only operate 18 days on $240 billion. That's if we tax 100% of their income. So taxing the rich is not going to take care of the problem. We don't have a tax problem, we have a spending problem. So that's what we need to do. And enough, I think we're paying plenty. I think we're planning plenty. You just got a $25,000 refund from the IRS, Mr. President. If you wanted to help, you could have just let them keep that. Just took the deduction that you and Michelle got as a husband and as a wife, the standard deduction, and not took any of the others. I know you can do it legally, but you would have paid another $90,000 in taxes, and you got a $25,000 tax refund. Thank you.
Congressman Bates.
Well, Mr. President, let me remind you, this is the United States of America, not Europe. And in the United States of America is enough is as much as a person wants to earn, period. And I have put forth a very bold plan to revive our economy, to bring jobs back to the United States, and to get the federal government out of our way. And I'm grateful that several of my colleagues have now picked up on it. I am proposing that we cut the corporate tax rate to 0. We wonder why we've lost jobs in Mexico and to China, and we talk about how NAFTA was involved, or NAFTA was the cause of that. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have, under President Obama's leadership, we now have the highest corporate tax rate in the industrialized world. And I heard someone say the other day that big business is in bed with the government, and that may be true. But ladies and gentlemen, let's stick to the Constitution. Let's get government out of business's way. That will revive jobs in the United States. So, cut the corporate tax rate to 0. That will bring jobs back to the United States. The other thing I want to do is cut the corporate tax rate to 0. I think it's immoral that a person could work their entire life, pay taxes on the money that they accumulate, and then when they pass that off to their heirs, they're required to pay taxes on it. Not in the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen. Simply, it's wrong. The other thing that I'm proposing is that we repeal those, as I mentioned earlier, there are over 2,000 pages of new EPA regulations. It's stifling economic growth in the United States. I've talked to businessman after businessman, and I've asked them, why aren't you expanding? Why aren't you growing? And you know what they tell me again and again? We're scared because we don't know what this government and what this president is going to do next. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to break those shackles if we're going to set the economic engine of the United States free. We can and will do that in November, and if you elect me to be your next congressman.
Gentlemen, this will be our last audio clip. It's a relatively short one, but rather poignant, I think.
What do you think a stimulus is? That's the whole point. No, seriously.
Congressman Sizemore, do you believe that we can spend our way out of the massive federal deficits and debt President Obama's administration has caused?
Mr. President, no. You can't spend your way out of anything. That stimulus, when we first, I work in factories and my wife has a beauty salon, so I hear a lot of different aspects on things. that stimulus, and, you know, that proposal, well, that sounded great, you know, everybody's gonna be safe, you know, everybody, this is, we're gonna come out, that's good. It didn't do anything, but just prolong what the inevitable. So no, the only way to bring us out of this is to, and it's gonna hurt, I mean, it's gonna hurt a lot of people, because it's gonna affect everybody. They're gonna have to cut things are gonna have to be cut hard, and to the, I mean, and I'm talking, I mean, even, you know, and I think, you know, I just hope it don't affect children. I mean,